This is the area of Ground Zero. This is the church that was down in the Ground Zero area where they used as a morgue, makeshift morgue. And also just it was like just very difficult to be around here when all the ashes were down here too. And you can see how right now what they've done is they finished completing this 1,776 foot tower. And right next to it is 7 World Trade Center. That's the building that collapsed when the World Trade Center collapsed. And it was like a few hours afterward. We're just gonna take a look at how everything looks now. This is August 7th, 2014. This is a great chance just to see how things have progressed. Everything happened, of course, in September 11th, 2001. So change. So this is about 13 years later, and you can see how progress was made. Initially, after 9/11, the governor of New York and New Jersey said that they were going to rebuild very, very quickly. However, reality is a lot different than what people might like to happen. It took a number of years of organization and coordination to decide what was necessary to do. Now, one of the best parts of the rebuilding is it's like a $2 billion center that connects the PATH train along with a number of other transportation areas, subway lines, and it was a great architectural work that they're doing. Turned out to be very good, but very expensive. So you can see here part of the expense that's going on, like this great monumental building that they're doing. It's going to be a great architectural wonder once they're done, and it's going to be a great tourist attraction. But as of right now, it's still very, very expensive to have built this. And you can see how this is going to be just tremendous. Like, this is a great way of looking up close to see how it looks and just to see a better idea of how everything is done, and just the architectural work that was done on the World Trade Center here. Now, in my opinion, it would have been very nice if they had built a second World Trade Center too, but in the people putting everything together, they decided that it was better to have World Trade Center 1, which is the 1,776 foot Trade Center, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the problem is that finding tenants for these buildings, and that's what they're debating right now. And you can see here right ahead of us is the post office, and that's still being used. And then in the distance you can see the World Financial Center that's right behind everything, and that was it's still being used by a lot of firms. And you can see here like a better view of like the operation that's going on. This is part of the view of like the exhaust for the PATH train and for the people that will be using the PATH train. And you can see here like a different view of everything there. And like you can see how that is just a going to be a great architectural wonder. Now, the building ahead of us that we see, that's the building that's a little bit stuck right now because Larry Silverstein is trying to get additional financing. However, financing is not forthcoming, and he's trying to get the Port Authority to guarantee some of the bonds. However, the Port Authority is kind of reluctant to guarantee the bonds because what they're saying is they want to make sure that there's tenants. And so it's the catch-22 about how they're going to build. And you know, that's one of the other trade centers that has been built, and that was they were able to do that. And there's a third one that hasn't quite been started. They want to start, but again, they're more limited with financing. But I think it's just a great job that they're doing, and great how they're able to do that. Now, what we're seeing here right ahead of us is that was the former U.S. Steel building, you know, and that is Century 21, the store that's right ahead of us. Now, for a lot of people in New York, they just love Century 21, and basically Century 21 is that building, and also 5 stories of the other building. And it is very, very inexpensive. And that's where a lot of tourists love coming and just buying at Century 21. And this is the Millennium Hilton. that we're right in front of right now, and that was used by a lot of people. That still stood when everything happened for 9/11, and a lot of people used that, you know, kind of like for a temporary shelter too during 9/11, even though it was so close, because it was still intact. And here is like a better view of how they're constructing this. And we'll take a different view around once we walk a little bit further south. And you can see here, this is just looking north from the World Trade Center site. You can see all the construction. That tall apartment building was not there before. They recently put that up. And then you can see some of the other construction still going on. Now, a lot of what's driving this is people trying to reinvigorate the downtown area. And it's a very good job that they're doing too. And it's amazing how much money is being poured into the area. And I think that's to the credit of a lot of the people who have faith in the downtown area, have faith in what's going to happen. It's not always easy, because what ends up happening is people might not have that faith that everything is going to be better. And again, this is the building that they're still have under construction. They're still trying to figure out like how to get the financing. They wanted to put down the base of the buildings to make it easier to get financing and to allow for the future construction of the building. And here again, this is another version, another closer view of the construction of the center for commuters to New Jersey and to New York, because this is going to be connected underground to the subways. So in the past, the subways in this area had been a maze, very difficult to navigate. But this center is going to connect the 4, 5, and the 6, the A and the C and the E, and also the 1 and the other trains, and the R train. So it's going to be a big plus to the whole area for commuting. And so that's going to be very good. However, it has been very expensive, and there's been a lot of criticism. There's been a lot of criticism of how much it costs. And a lot of times what happens is when a natural disaster, when a disaster happens like 9/11, people react out of emotion. And not that it's wrong, but they'll react out of emotion and they'll promise huge sums of money. And then after people have time to think about it, they might begin to think a little bit more about the huge sums that might have been promised, and then question whether that makes sense or not. And that's the situation that we're running into now in New York, where people had promised huge sums of money for the investment in the infrastructure in the downtown area to allow for the recovery of the lower Manhattan area. And then only in hindsight are they questioning whether it was wise to spend as much as they spent. But that being said, at the time, it was very important and critical to jumpstart the lower Manhattan economy. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been jump-started. And where would the funds have come from, except from the government? And here again, this is the other building that was built. And this is another Silverstein property. And you can see how it's really good, almost completely done. People almost starting to use it. And you can see here, we're going to take a look at the southern part of the building just to have a better idea of what it looks like. You can see how beautiful the whole area is. And that Burger King has been around forever. You know, it's like I think it's in an ideal situation. However, I also think that whoever owns that location and the locations right next to the Burger King are really waiting for the opportunity to be bought out. And that's what happens a lot in the Manhattan area, where people have prime locations and they just never really want to sell out until someone comes along and offers them a really good price. And that's what we're seeing here, I think. And you can see, we'll take a really good look at the southern side of the World Trade Center area under development. And I think it's still very, very vibrant. And what's been happening more recently in the last 10, 15 years in Lower Manhattan is a lot of the businesses, and especially the financial businesses, have moved to Connecticut, to Westchester, to New Jersey, to not be so concentrated in like the financial district, even into other parts of Manhattan, just because it makes more sense for them rather than be in one location. And so what you had is a transition from being in one location to being in multiple locations, and that has helped reassure a lot of the people in finance that it would be better for everyone. So now here again, so looking north, that's where we just were, just to see how everything is. And this is the park where they had Occupy Wall Street for about a year until it petered out, until people realized that there were other things to do. So we're taking a look at the park area here, and you can see how people are using it. And again, this is One Liberty Plaza, right next to the World Trade Center. And that was the former US Steel building and also the Merrill Lynch building. And right now what they're doing is they're redoing the exterior to make it look a lot better. That's very important because it's usually a very nice color black, you know, but it takes a lot of time and money to redo that. And here, for example, you can see how the other construction of like this building is very nice, still progressing. And that in the distance is the World Financial Center. You can see how nice that is. And this is like a really nice area down here. That was the former American Stock Exchange. It's not being used anymore because the American Stock Exchange was purchased by the New York Stock Exchange and now is being used for other purposes. So you can see how nice it is in the downtown area here. And this is, as I said, it's the World Trade Center area that's being redone. And we'll take another look along the side where they have the World Trade Center Memorial. And that's a private memorial, and it's being used as a national park, and it costs about $20 for admittance. And that could be good too. And that was on the former site. What they did is the former sites of World Trade Center 1 and World Trade Center 2 that came down are currently being used as the footprints for the memorial. And you can see how many people are coming around here just to see the memorial, see what's going on. And it's one of those main tourist sites for a lot of people. And I'm really doing this just as a way for people to see more of what's going on. You know, to see how everything is turned out after 13 years. And it's very nice seeing this. Like, very nice seeing all the people in the area. And it's a chance for everyone to see what has happened in the area. How the change has taken place. You know, what dynamics there are. And it reminds me, and I've been in this area for over 20 years, and I'm very familiar with how, like, the change has taken place. But it's a good change. It's a change that makes a lot of sense for a lot of people. They really like it, and it's what they've tried to do to make the best of a situation. And we're just taking a look at the other area that's still under construction. And here there used to be a Greek church right over there, but now they're putting up another little building, which is going to make the whole area very interesting. Now, for a long time, this Greek church that was here just refused to sell out. But then the Port Authority and the city came along and said, you know, it made a lot more sense to have them sell out and put up another building. And they're still trying to determine where they're going to put the Greek church. And that was a very interesting development to see. So we're just taking another look here of the park. This is where the memorial is. So a chance for everyone to see the memorial. And of course, it's not a free memorial. You have to pay to get in, but they allow people to see the park-like area. And this is the other side of everything. Now, this is the other side of the building that is still under construction. And again, we're seeing what the memorial looks like. And this is, again, where if you want to go inside, you actually have to pay to see the memorial. And, well, of course, we're not going inside. Just taking a look, just to see what it's like. To see what the World Trade Center looks like, or what the memorial looks like. You can see all the people around. You can see all the people around. This is a great chance just to see everything. And again, this is the footprint of the former World Trade Center building. You can see here how everything is. And there's two of these. There's another one on the other side. We'll take a look at that too. And you can see here, World Trade Center there. And that's the other side of the transportation area, transportation hub. And that's the World Financial Center. So let's take a closer look here of the World, the memorial, the 9/11 memorial.
Stop. Standing here is trying to kill these guys.
You can see here everything, how beautiful it is. So now we'll take another look around here. And as you can see, there's police everywhere, so a lot of significant presence. But as I said, this other building, they're still trying to figure out what to do with it because they're still trying to obtain financing, and the financing is proving to be a little bit more difficult than they thought. So we're taking another look around here. We're going to the other part of the world, the 9/11 memorial, just to get a good idea of everything that's here, because it's a very good thing to kind of see everything, you know, and I think that can be a very nice thing, like when you just see everything, just to see the whole view. And that building in the distance that you can just see there, that's the new Goldman Sachs headquarters. That was helped, partly financed by New York City and New York State, and part of the deal was that they were going to get city and state subsidized financing to help build it. And during the hurricane in 2012, they were smart enough to barricade and put barricades around the building so water didn't get in. So the ironic thing in that building was that they had all their lights on and everything was up and running. However, everything was not up and running for the other parts of Lower Manhattan. They had their own generators, but I think that attests to their foresight and to their ability to plan ahead. Not to say that the city of New York didn't plan ahead for the Hurricane Sandy that occurred. It's just that a lot of times when you're a big financial organization, you have a lot more resources to better plan for the events than if you're just a city. And that's to everyone's benefit that it's like that. Excuse me, that's to their benefit, but they set a good example that how you can plan ahead, and they were very nice about planning ahead. So we're taking another little view from the other side of the World Trade Center Memorial, just to give another glimpse of how it looks. You can see what a magnificent memorial. How much it cost was amazing. And you can see here, they have all the names of the people too that perished. It's like 3,000 people that perished, but they made a point of putting the names down and just having them down, and so to memorialize the people for the future. Now we'll take another look at the other part of the memorial. As I said, there are two parts to the park for the 9/11 memorial. And we'll just take another little view here. It's very nice seeing everything. And there are some parts that are more popular than other parts. And this part here is the visitor center that we see. And as I said, to enter into the visitor center requires additional funding. But that's okay, you know, it's for a good cause, and helps to maintain and support the park itself. And you can see what a great place to be. And before, this whole place was like one big underground shopping mall, and they just basically turned it into a park. And so you can see here, this is the World Financial Center, and this is known for the Reichman brothers. The Reichman brothers, what they did is they ended up in the 70s buying a lot of buildings, office buildings in Manhattan. They struck it rich with office buildings. Then they decided to build the World Financial Center right here, right here, and like there's some other parts of the World Financial Center. They did really well with that. And so then they decided to also create Canary Wharf. However, Canary Wharf was even bigger in London than this World Financial Center, and it was too big. So it was one thing too big for the Reichman brothers, and they ended up losing it. And but they ended up still prevailing with other investments in real estate. But that's just a side note for the people who are watching this, because it's a very good thing to see and to know about some of the other things around the World Financial Center, and also the 9/11 Memorial. So as I said, we have two big pools that were here. We had this pool too, and what we saw in the background was the other pool that was there for a lot of people who just wanted to see it. And this is a pool that is in a similar vein, and you can see here, very same thing. Even though we have the other pool, this is kind of like less crowded because it's a little bit further of a walk for people. And you can see in the background that this is the transportation center, very famous Cantalivateria center. And you can see that's the Millennium Hilton Hotel that we had just passed. And those are some of the other buildings. And you can see in the distance that is the former US Steel building. That's World Trade Center 3 in the distance. So World Trade Center 4, sorry, in the distance, and World Trade Center 3 right there. So they're still trying to figure out more of what to do. And this again is like World Trade Center 7, you know, and you can see how there's a lot of space here. Just a beautiful 9/11 memorial. Chance for everyone to see what it's like and to see how things have changed over the years and how it's going to change even more over the years. And I think they've done a very good job at revitalizing the downtown area and encouraging the tourists to come to the downtown area. And again, this is the second of the pools reflecting the 9/11 memorial, just as we saw the other one. That's this one here. So you can see how it's very nice just to see everything. So two beautiful pools just like this.